From 1970 to 1974, millions of Americans tuned in every week to follow the adventures of television's most musical family. The Partridge Family wasn't just a sitcom. It was a cultural phenomenon that produced hit records, launched teenage heartthrobs, and defined early 1970s pop culture. But what if the colorful, harmony-filled world of the Partridge Family concealed stories far more complex, and at times darker, than anything that appeared on screen? Today, we're revealing what David Cassidy, Shirley Jones, Danny Bonaduce, and other cast members have finally shared after decades of measured silence. Behind those seemingly effortless performances were bitter music industry battles, devastating personal struggles hidden behind perfect smiles, corporate control that turned young actors into carefully packaged products, and the shocking revelation that television's most wholesome musical family was actually assembled through one of the most cynical casting processes in television history. You think you know the Partridge Family? The cast has broken their silence about what really happened during the creation of this American institution. From actors who weren't allowed to play their instruments on their own hit records to the systematic exploitation of young performers, this wasn't just another family sitcom. It was a carefully constructed commercial enterprise that sacrificed authentic artistry and sometimes personal well-being for ratings and record sales. The show's producer Bernard Slade once admitted, "We weren't creating a television show as much as we were manufacturing a product designed to sell records, lunchboxes, and magazine covers." After today's revelations, you'll understand exactly what he meant, and you'll never watch the Partridge Family the same way again. The most shocking truth about the Partridge Family is that television's most famous musical family wasn't really a musical family at all, but a carefully engineered commercial concept designed from the ground up to capitalize on the success of real-life family bands. The show wasn't inspired by artistic vision, explains television historian Tim Brooks. It was a calculated response to the commercial success of the Cowsills, a real family band that had several hits in the late 1960s. ABC saw dollar signs, not just in ratings, but in record sales, merchandise, and teen magazine coverage. This commercial foundation shaped every aspect of the show's development. The original concept was actually to cast the Cowsills themselves, reveals Shirley Jones, who played Mother Shirley Partridge. The network abandoned that plan when they realized they couldn't have complete control over an established group. They wanted manufactured stars they could mold and manage. This desire for control led to one of television's most cynical casting processes. They weren't casting actors who could sing or musicians who could act, explains David Cassidy, who played Keith Partridge. They were casting marketable images. My audition focused more on how I photographed than my acting or musical abilities. For Cassidy, who had genuine musical aspirations, this created immediate tension. "I was a serious musician," he revealed in later interviews. "I played guitar, wrote songs, had performed in bands. I thought I'd be able to bring that authenticity to Keith Partridge. I quickly discovered they didn't want my musical input. They wanted me to be a carefully packaged teen idol." The ultimate evidence of this manufactured quality came with the music itself. "Most of us didn't play the instruments we pretended to play on the show," admits Danny Bonaduce, who portrayed Danny Partridge. "I had never touched a bass before being cast. The scenes of us performing were completely staged. We were essentially miming to pre-recorded tracks." The artifice extended to the show's hit records. The only cast members who actually performed on the Partridge Family albums were David and Shirley, reveals music producer Wes Farrell. The rest of the music was created by session musicians from the legendary Wrecking Crew, the same professionals who backed the Beach Boys and countless other top acts. The other cast members didn't play a note on any of those hit records, Farrell admitted. This revelation was particularly painful for some cast members. Susan Day, who played Lori Partridge, actually learned to play the keyboard with serious dedication, explained Shirley Jones. She practiced constantly, became quite accomplished, but when it came time to record, they wouldn't let her play on the tracks. It was humiliating for her. The show's biggest hit, "I Think I Love You," exemplified this artificial approach. That song was specifically engineered to appeal to preteen and teenage girls, explains songwriter Tony Romeo. The lyrics intentionally captured adolescent romantic uncertainty. The production was designed to sound like a family band while actually being created by top studio professionals. Even the vocals were more limited than fans realized. David sang lead, Shirley provided some harmonies, and professional studio singers handled the rest, explains music historian Charlotte Gregg. When you heard the family harmonizing, you were actually hearing experienced session vocalists, not the child actors from the show. This manufactured quality extended to the group's visual presentation as well. The trademark Partridge Family bus wasn't a spontaneous creative choice, reveals production designer Bruce Bushman. Focus groups showed that young viewers were drawn to psychedelic imagery and bright colors. The bus combined counterculture aesthetics with family-friendly messaging, a perfect visual metaphor for the show's commercial strategy. Even the family's coordinated performance outfits came from market research. The matching velvet suits and ruffled shirts weren't just 70s fashion, explains costume designer Nolan Miller. They were designed to look slightly hip but completely non-threatening. Market research showed parents were nervous about rock culture's influence on their children. The Partridge Family styling reassured them with a sanitized, family-friendly version of contemporary music. The ultimate proof of the show's commercial origins? The Partridge Family TV series was created simultaneously with their first album, explains music producer Wes Farrell. Before the first episode aired, songs were already being recorded and attributed to a group that didn't actually exist yet. For the cast, this created an ironic reality. We played a close-knit family band bringing joy through music, reflects Shirley Jones. But in reality, we were a group of actors pretending to be musicians working for a corporation that was primarily interested in merchandising opportunities. The actual making of music, the joy, the authenticity, was largely absent from the process. For David Cassidy, this gap between image and reality would eventually become unbearable. I was marketed as the wholesome teen idol while harboring serious musical ambitions, he revealed. The hundreds of screaming girls weren't there for my music. They were there for a carefully manufactured image that I had little control over. That contradiction eventually broke me.